What's up, everybody? My name is Arija. I am a CASI evaluator as well as a yoga instructor. So the purpose of all of these mobility and maintenance videos is for athletes like yourself to prep yourself for any kind of activity that you're working towards, but for me especially snowboarding, because that's what I love to do and that's what I love to teach. This practice here is going to be about just getting a little bit into the hips and kind of getting out of them as well. And like anything, my body is different than your body, so just make sure to stay within your limits, take your time, never go to a place of pain, and just be where you're at. And I'll see you on the mat. Ooh, that rhymed. All right, here we go. So we're going to start off in a child's pose. If you have a mat or anywhere that's nice and comfortable, child's pose is just going to be kind of keeping your toes touched behind you, reaching your hands forward, and sinking your hips nice and back here. So in this child pose, it is going to be an active one, so you're planting your hands nice and down here. You're going to feel a lift in your chest and in your armpits, and you want to try to keep your head off of the ground rather than resting that forehead down, because we're not going to be here for very long. So in this child's pose, I want you to just try to feel that connection, mind-body connection to your hip here. And as you're pushing your hands down into the ground, you're almost trying to tuck your tailbone and have your hips touch your heels. And maybe they're already there, or they're not. And just that sensation of that should feel a little strength happening in your armpits. And then here, we're just gonna start walking with our hands right over to the right. You're gonna reach that left hand as far as you can and sink that left hip, kind of tick it back towards that left heel and going for a nice left side stretch. Please don't forget to breathe. If you need to twist a little bit deeper, or just come back a little bit more neutral. There we go, take your hands back to center. And then over to the right side. So reaching that right hand down, your left hand is still pressing down as you tack that right hip back towards your right heel. Feeling that nice side stretch in your ribs, side of your arm. And breathing here. See if you're collapsing down in your ribs and see if you can still maintain that slight tuck to your tailbone, aiming your hips down towards your heels. On your next exhale, bring your hands back to center. Just kind of wiggle your hips. So here we're just going to pull ourselves forward into a nice tabletop. Here you want to have your hands underneath your shoulders, and you want to have this feeling of almost like when you're neutral table, your belly button kind of reaching towards your back without any kind of arch yet. You just want to feel nice and long throughout your spine. And then we're just going to do a couple cat and cows. So this is when, for starting with your cat, you're going to tuck your tailbone and you're going to push your hands into the ground and then tuck your chin. A little arch in your back. And then for your cow, you're going to tilt your tailbone up towards the sky, dropping all along the spine till your chin comes again. So it always starts at your hips and ends at your chin. So again, into cat. Really trying to almost like reach your belly button through your spine. And then into cow, you want to relax, let your belly dip. And lifting your chin here. So here, play a little bit here with a few of those. You can even, if you want, like do a couple rolling ones where you're just feeling your spine roll around. Making all different kinds of arches, getting into those little nooks and crannies. Mobilizing our spine is really important. We want to have that mind-body connection of how our body feels and how we can stay nice and aligned. And when our spines are nice and loose, we have a lot more access to all of our joints. Feeling yourself, make sure to switch up that rotation if you have. Maybe you're finding a nice spot to stay in. And then make your way back to a nice neutral table. So this here, we want to have that feeling of almost like somebody's zippered up at the front of our chest. So we're in that nice strong table. You're gonna squeeze behind the right knee as if there's like a piece of paper there, and so that your heel is almost gonna kick your butt. And then you're gonna just lift that knee up, and we're just gonna do a couple hip rotations. So with that knee being, like with that feeling of your knee squeezing, that's gonna make sure that the rotation is happening from your hip rather than your knee making all the movement. So squeeze behind your knee, kick up, and then out, and then reach your knee towards your armpit, maybe even give it a little tap, and then tuck underneath. Okay, so up again. So reach that heel up, keeping the squeeze. So only go as high as you can without losing that squeeze behind the knee. Trying to keep your hips nice and lined up and not tilting to the left. And then out, so opening up that hip, bringing your knee towards your armpit, maybe a tap, tuck underneath you. We'll do one more time this way. So kicking that heel up, out, tap your forearm, tuck underneath, okay? And then we're gonna go the opposite direction. So this time with that neutral, you're gonna squeeze behind your knee, bring that knee towards your chest, out, and rotate it so that your heel is facing up towards the sky. And again, really squeezing behind that knee. So 2 more times. Don't forget to breathe. And really feeling that isolation happening from the hip instead of all your back. Good. And then once you're finished that third, just go ahead and drop that left knee. We're just gonna do the other side. So squeezing that knee. You can always adjust, right? Like be where you're at, but you can adjust if you need to shift forward, if you need to move your back. Find out where it's gonna be the strongest for you. So squeeze that piece of paper behind that left knee and isolating the hip. So kicking up as high as you can go, out, bring that knee close to your forearm, and then back underneath. We as snowboarders use our hips a lot, and sometimes we tend to use the rest of our body in order to get into them. So by isolating our hips, we can create a much stronger body connection, so when we're using them, you can feel how they strengthen and get them more mobile in a lot of ways. I don't know if that made any sense. Okay, now let's do the other way. So tuck towards your chest, out, and then rotate to bring it back with the heel up. 2 more times. Tuck under. Last one. Drop your knee. Great. So you can go ahead and like shake out your wrists a little bit if you're feeling like you've been on them for a little while. And then we'll come back down. And then we're gonna just kick off, kind of do it like a kickstand with your foot out so that it's kind of at a 90. And then reach that left foot back. Plant it really strong. Feel nice and aligned. We're gonna come into a side plank. A supported side plank. So still making sure we've got this nice alignment with our hand underneath our shoulder. You can go ahead and look up to that left hand and just really reach, plant that foot, really feel yourself come out of your hip and this nice length as we reach over our heads and reach towards the top of our mat. You want to try to see if you can give even yourself a little tuck to your tailbone so we're not arching from our backs, but we have this nice strong alignment all the way down. Our left leg is strong and our left hand is reaching out of our hips. Your right ribs will begin to tuck as you create more of an arch. And you're trying to create almost like this nice big rainbow feeling. all the way through your ribs and hips. With every exhale, can you feel yourself get a little longer? Reach that left hand back up to the sky. Bring that knee, squeeze it like you did just before, so like that piece of paper, feeling that nice in alignment, and see if you can bring your knee as high as your hip. So here in that left hand, see if you can bring that left hand and bring it to grab the back of your foot, and then tuck your tailbone for a nice quad stretch, or you can kick your foot out into your hand for a nice little back bend. I'm feeling this quad stretch. You can look down for balance, or you can look over your left shoulder to make sure your knee is at the same height as your hip. And then release your foot wherever you're at. Keep that squeeze behind your knee. Look to the top of your mat and bring your foot to line up with your right hand. Then you can come on down. We're gonna come into a low lunge. So here you can use your hand to climb on up. And come into this nice low lunge where we're gonna get into our hip flexors. So here, play a little bit around, make sure that your knees are comfortable. If you need like a towel or anything underneath, that can really support your knee if you need that. Here, we really wanna have this feeling again of that zippering up, and like someone is pulling out a string from the top of our crown of our head, like top of the crown of our head. And that way we're nice and tall, and almost a slight tuck to your tailbone so that we're really gonna get into that hip flexor rather than our lower backs. So engage your core, and you're gonna just have a couple pulses in and out. See how deep you can go without losing that tuck to your tailbone. So just pulsing in and out. You can keep your hands down, or if you wanna have a little bit more of a challenge, you can keep your hands up and just really leaning into that hip flexor. Squeezing that right butt cheek when you go deeper into that. A little bonus is that you're also improving your ankle flexibility. Okay, 2 more. Pulsing in, lifting up, really thinking about keeping that zipper. Squeezing that right butt cheek. Now here, bring your hands down. Placing them on top of your right knee, you want to straighten out your arms, tuck your tailbone and your chin as you still squeeze that right butt cheek. And release. And here what that's doing is really lengthening out that hip flexor and getting our ribs out of our hips. And again, pushing our arms straight. Tuck our chin, and then tuck that tailbone, and release. One more time. Pushing those arms nice and straight. Tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone, squeeze that right butt cheek. Really push, and release. So you're gonna reach that right hand to the right corner of your mat. You might have to shuffle a little bit with your knee, again, wherever it's gonna feel comfortable. And you're gonna take that left hand and reach back as you squeeze that left knee and reach for that back foot. Maybe it comes right to you, and you can have a really nice quad stretch here. And it's still a good quad stretch even if you're just reaching and the intention is there. And once, if you have your ankle, just wanna bring it towards you. You can turn back, you twist your chest back. Making sure that that left knee isn't spilling out too much, but keeping it over top of the ankle. Pulsing in and out to go deeper or stay just somewhere where it feels really nice. And if you're twisting, twist from your ribs and your stomach instead of your lower back. Okay, exhale and go and release nice and slow and control, and tap your toes down. Here you want to plant your both feet here. Rock your hips back, and we're gonna just come into a little half split. So here you can stay nice and up. The goal here is to really try to feel right underneath underneath your thigh instead of your knee. Instead of trying to push your knee all the way down, really try to feel your hamstring do more of the direction down. Feeling that part of your hamstring drive down rather than your knee. Lengthening out, just same idea of that zipper, someone coming out. And if this feels really good and feeling really comfortable here, you can go ahead and do a couple waves. So starting from your stomach and working for to your chin. You want to have that idea of folding forward over top of your calf. And then ripple back up. Or just stay here in that nice half split. Rocking in and out. And tacking that left hip back. Exhale, come on back forward, plant your hands, slide that heel down as if you're trying to squeeze that piece of pear behind your knee again, and come on back to tabletop. Great, now we're just gonna do the other side. So, I'm gonna just turn around here. So kickstand that left foot and drive that right foot to the side so that you're planting that right foot. It's really nice and strong as you reach that right hand up to the sky for a supported side angle or side plank. Looking up to your right hand and then reaching over your right ear. And remember, like these left ribs, they want to start to try to tuck or to kind of arch while you're tucking your tailbone. Really feeling yourself stretch out that side. Don't lose that connection to your right foot. Make sure it's nice and planted. Play with here what feels best. Again, reaching up to the right, lifting that right leg up and bending the knee, bringing it in for a nice quad stretch. Or again, if you want, kicking that right foot into your hand for a nice back bend. Remember, bending from where you're at instead of going over the top. Keep that knee leveled with your hip. Whew. And feeling your tight hip flexors release. So keep that bend in your knee, squeeze behind as you release. And then bring that right foot all the way up to the top. Right? Did I do this thing? Even if we didn't. Okay, so right foot's up here. Same idea, we're gonna rise up into a low lunge. Have a little bit of those pulses in and out. So you're like, again, you can challenge yourself and you can keep your arms above or even in front of you as you pulse in and out, or just keep your hands on your knees, on your knee. Make sure you have that knee over top of your ankle and that little squeeze in your left cheek as you pulse forward. Again, that zipper feeling up instead of collapsing into those hips. Want to lift up and out of them, almost like you're trying to lift your ribs up way above. Give yourself 2 more. Okay. And come back into that low lunge. Place your hands on top of your knee. Push them straight as you tuck your chin and tuck your tailbone as you squeeze that left butt cheek. And then relax and release. 2 more times. Straighten out those arms. Tuck that chin. Squeeze. And release. 1 last time here. Straighten those arms. Pushing down on top of your knee. Tuck that tailbone as you squeeze your left cheek and try to drive that left hip forward for a nice release. And relax. Good. Coming into that half split, or into the quad stretch, sorry. You're gonna reach that left hand close to that left corner of your mat. Sweep that right hand back as you squeeze your left foot and reach for that ankle. And again, even if the ankle's not there, that's great. Just reach with the intention as you squeeze behind the knee. Make sure that right knee doesn't rock out too much, but is staying nice over top of that right ankle as you twist from your ribs to look over your shoulder, or keep your chest forward. And just enjoy the stretch. Last breath. And with control, release and tap your toes down. Sweep your arm right back down, and we're gonna come into that little half split. So again, trying to aim for that hamstring to drop down as we tuck that right hip back instead of just putting all of our weight into our knee. Driving down. Some rolling waves, or just hanging out over top of that calf. Carry a lot of tension in our legs as snowboarders, and any sort of release will just feel exponential, or at least I hope it does. For me it does. Okay, so pulling that heel back towards you. Plant your hands, squeeze behind that right knee as you bring yourself back into a tabletop. Here, give yourself a couple more of those cat-cows. See if there's a difference in your body from the start. Maybe your ribs feel longer, more open. And then slowly just start to walk your hands back so you come to sit just on your heels. So here you can stay sitting on your heels, or you can stay bringing them up and sit down on your toes. It's really good to stretch out your toes. Just make sure you pull your pinky out so that your pinky is also getting some of this toe stretch. And if this is just too intense right now, just go back to sitting on your feet. We're not gonna be here long. I'm gonna come up into kind of like this kneeling pose. And we're just gonna do a couple of camel side stretches here. So what we're gonna do here is you can keep your hand on your back, and we're gonna just sweep that left arm out. So remember, it's still that same zipper feeling. So instead of pushing our lower back, we're just trying to reach our hand away as far as we can away from our ribs. And then reach forward on the other side. So hand on your lower back and reach up. So you can stick with this. We're gonna do this a couple times, or if you wanna go a little bit deeper, you can reach towards your heel and really reach back. Or if it's in your practice, or if it's in your mobility, you can even go a little bit further, really add into like a bit of a back bend. Sweeping forward, wherever you're at. One more time each side. And then come on back to center. Okay, shake that out. Now you can do one way is we're just gonna come over to our bums and sit down. You can either just make your way however you want, or if you are on your toes and you want a little bit more of that balance, you're gonna try to pop up and sit kind of in a bit of a squat. And again, these are just really great things to even practice, trying to go from your knees to a squat, just for your own mobility. And then once you find your way onto your bum, we're just gonna stretch our legs out. I can turn back around now. Stretch our legs out. We're just gonna wrap up with a couple more stretches here. So reaching up and out of our hips. We're just gonna reach forward wherever you are, whether you're just touching. The idea here is you wanna make sure that that belly button is going towards your spine as you reach forward. So whether you're grabbing onto your ankles, or you're wrapping around, or you're just on top. Really feeling that crown of your head pull towards, as if you could bring your chin up and over your mat. Okay, and then just relax into the stretch. Tucking your chin. And then you reach forward. Here for 3 more breaths. Wherever your hands are, keep them there as you lengthen out your spine. And then come back to a tall seated position. We're gonna bring our foot into our inner thigh, plant our hand right beside our right knee, reach up and lift on over. Really trying to create, again, these ribs are coming through to the other side. So you create a nice arch. And even open up. Aiming towards those right toes. And your next exhale, come on back up. We'll go over to the other side. Playing that right foot into our left thigh. Planting your hand by your left knee. Reaching up and out, trying to solidify that right hip down as we reach out of it. And again, arching, reaching for those left toes. Each side is different. Just notice it. No judgment. A little different. Then rainbow that back up. And then bring that other ankle across your other one. Sit nice and tall with your legs crossed or your legs out, whichever more comfortable. Pull those shoulder blades down your back. Give yourself a couple neck rolls. Sit nice and tall. Yeah, and thanks for sharing a mobility and maintenance practice with me. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the mat next time.